1800, Henry Overholt, his wife, and 12 children made the journey over those mountains from Bucks County and settled here in this area that was fertile, full of promise, and as they say, the rest is history. Hi. Welcome to Around the Town with Marilyn Forbes. I'm very pleased to be telling you folks that today we're going to be doing our show from West Overton Village and Museums, right here in East Huntington. We're right outside of Scottsdale along 819, and this fabulous historic gem is full of surprises. We're going to be talking to a couple of representatives from West Overton who are going to tell us all of the history about this fabulous place, some of the events going on, and how you can come and get involved and maybe have some fun. So please, folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, now to begin our exciting tour of the West Overton Village and Museums, we are actually going to start out here in the Distillery Museum, and Jessica, who is the managing director, is going to tell us a little bit about this facility. Good morning and welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, now start us off. First of all, where are we? What is this building and what does it represent?
Okay, this building is a distillery, third distillery actually on the site, built in 1859. It operated first as a grist mill. Half of this building was actually a grist mill. And then as the whiskey production came more into being, a bigger part of the economy here in the village, they turned it into a distillery as well.
Oh, okay. All right, and then it served as a distillery for how long?
Oh, I'm not so sure about the dates, but I know that once they took off, they built the sister site, Broadford, down in Connellsville.
Oh, okay.
And that's where a good chunk of the whiskey distillation moved to.
Okay. Now, this site actually has seen a giant renovation over the last couple years. What you're seeing now, and what I'm going to point out, what you're seeing now is just a little teeny tiny piece. There's
Don't
a whole.
give it all away.
No, we want you to be intrigued and come and see the rest. But it's actually broke up in sections that each section tells a little bit of history, which I think is really intriguing. But tell us a little bit about the renovation and everything. That was just recently completed, correct?
Right. It was completed. Early 2012. And the way it's laid out now is semi-chronological, based on the industries here over the history of West Overton. So we touch on a little bit about the farming and the coverlet weaving here. Then we move into the coal and coke. And then we talk a bit about the Whiskey Rebellion, which really set the stage for what the Overholt clan was moving into when they came out here. And then we talk about the grist milling, the science of distilling, and then what that meant to this area here. And then, of course, you can't have a whiskey distillery museum without mentioning Prohibition. So we have some of that as well.
What I think is really interesting and what a lot of people don't realize, and Jessica and I have talked about this too, is this actually lies right outside of Scottsdale, right on 819,
That's right.
Right on the main drag, and so many people just drive by.
And we are, yes.
Yes, I know Jessica's big aim and the board of directors as well is to get people to pull in and check it out because there's a lot here.
There's a ton of history here. We actually have 18 buildings, actually 22.
Do you really?
22 structures if we count
wow.
the chicken coop.
Okay.
It is brick. It is brick. Over 12 acres that we care for. That is the village of West Overton Village. We were a thriving small industrial village. Our big claim to fame is how we transitioned from an agricultural family farm into the industrial village.
And that's, like I said, I think it's just so interesting because this doesn't just tell one story. This site tells numerous stories.
Yes, it
like
does.
You said, as it going through the changes and everything.
You have the Overholts who came here in 1802 and set up shop, set up their homestead and distillery and that sort of thing. And then, of course, you have the people who came in to work in the fields, who came to work in the distillery, who came to work in the mills, and then later on the coal and the coke ovens and mines and things like that. So there's a lot of history right here, a lot of stories that we can tell that is not just West Overton, but more the region.
Right.
Southwestern Pennsylvania.
That's what I think is interesting. And we can't leave out who was born here.
Abraham Overholt, the patriarch of West Overton, his grandson is Henry Clay Frick. And he was born in the Spring House right across the street. It's beside the Overholt Mansion. And I believe Stephanie will hopefully.
Tell us a little bit more
yeah,
about
I
that?
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now is that open? Can when the
Yes,
the grounds
as
are
part
open?
of tours, yes. It will be available during regular museum times.
Now the museum and the grounds do actually have, I guess, a season.
Yes,
can
we do. We can
call
call
it
it a
that?
season,
Okay,
sure.
and tell us a little bit about when you're going to be opening
All
and
right.
the hours and such.
We typically open the museum for regular tours. It coincides with our May Mart. We've been having May Mart for about 10 years now, and it's the annual plant sale that our Garden Society hosts.
It's very good, actually. You have to, and you know what? Come early in the morning.
You do need to come very early. We sell out of the plants quite quickly. But that's the day that we plan to open up the museums and the house again to the public.
Okay.
Our typical regular visiting hours are Friday through Sunday, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, noon to 5.
Okay.
Now, we do special events or special tours with advance notice, so I can be sure to get someone in here. And that happens all the way up through September, the end of September. And then after that, starting in October, November, December, January, through that time period, we do special events.
Okay. And we're going to talk to Stephanie about some of the
Yes,
special events. We
yes.
keep talking about
They're
Stephanie.
great. You'll love it.
Now, the May Mart, though, I do want to point out, I know that in past years, there's a lovely old garden here
Yes.
that the society does maintain. It's been here for a long time. I know some of the plants are from the garden, so you can actually get some heirloom plants.
Yes, you can. You can.
You have to come early, though. Do you know what time that starts?
Oh, they're going to kill me if I get it wrong. I'm thinking 9 o'clock. I think.
We'll check on that to make
Yes.
sure. But as I said, really, I have actually come in years past, and I'll get here at 10, and the pickings are slim.
I would
so-
definitely be here no later than 9. I think people even come earlier.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Be lined up down the
They
street
could be.
here.
It's a pretty popular event.
Now, Jessica and I were actually talking too. One cool thing about where we are here is that it's ever changing. So
Yes.
if you happen to come next year, it might look a little bit different than where we are right now.
That's right. We have ongoing plans to keep renovating the space. It's going to keep this historic, warm, rich whiskey feel that we have now, which is fantastic. But we need to work a little bit more about getting the story out there. So we'll be keep changing these exhibits, and we hope to make the story more accessible to more people, including children.
Okay. And something else too, I wanted to point out to our viewers there that the grounds here are really lovely, especially in the springtime and in the fall.
Yeah, yes.
But I know that they would like, if you are going to come and even be walking around taking photos, check in.
Yes, please check in with us. We'd love to see
Know
you
you're
here. We want to know you're here. Definitely.
Well, you had a photography contest last year.
We did.
How did that turn out? I never did ask you. Was it pretty successful?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But we were just talking about this yesterday, actually. We'd like to continue to do that. And
I think it's a great idea.
As we keep going, every year that we have it, we'll just get more and more entries, and it'll get better with time.
And all the information, if they do that, all the information will be on their website. And that's something, too, I wanted to point out. They have a
Yes.
very nice, detailed website, kept up to date, because they constantly have different events and speakers and such going on here. And we're going to talk to Stephanie about all that.
yes.
But did you want to add anything extra about the museum itself or anything before we go over? We're actually going to be going over to the homestead to do the rest of the show. Is there anything you
I
want
don't
to
know,
add?
there's so many things that I can talk about here. I think my mind draws a blank. So, sorry, no. I think I'm tapped out. I'm
Okay.
done for now.
Well, we're going to go over to the homestead and we're going to talk with Stephanie, and then we'll find out some of the great events that are going to be going on that you folks can take part of.
Armstrong Local Programming features our community like no one else. Meet your friends and neighbors at special events. Find the perfect pet. Celebrate our region's rich history or enjoy our natural wonders. Armstrong Local Programming is available online, on demand, and on your local Armstrong channel. Find the complete program schedule at ArmstrongOneWire.com. Local program, exclusively from Armstrong. One Wire, infinite possibilities.
Okay, now as promised, we are now in the Overholt Mansion. And Stephanie here is going to tell us, first of all, a little bit about the history of this house in particular, and then she's also going to tell us a little bit about the whiskey. Good morning, Stephanie. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, now first of all, tell us, like I said, this is lovely. This is called the Mural Room.
Mural room,
Okay,
yes.
Tell us a little bit about the house.
Sure, the house was built in 1838 by Abraham Overholt. He built it to house his family. They had 8 children. There was always 6 of their 8 children living here at all times.
Oh, wow.
I know.
And you know what? It's not really that, I mean, it's big, but it's not that big.
It's not real big. But by 1830 standards, this was definitely a mansion. It's a federal style house with Greek revival accents. If you're into architecture, definitely a great thing to come out and check out. The room that we're standing in now is the parlor room. And when Helen bought the house in the 1922, I believe she bought the house, she turned it into her version of what a museum she thought should be.
Oh, okay.
So she went and redid all the rooms, and one of the wonderful things that she did was she had this beautiful mural painted of all these different scenes that happened in Westmoreland County. We have the Battle of Bushy Run, Fort Pitt, Fort Ligonier, all these different places, and it describes all these different scenes, and it's an absolutely beautiful mural. So.
Well, thank you. You know, I have been in this room many times. I never knew that that's what these walls depicted. I mean, obviously with the soldiers, it was something. I didn't realize, though, that it was what happened. That's fascinating in itself.
Yes.
Now, can you come into this room? I mean, is this house opened at times, or how does that work?
Yeah, we're open for tours, usually in the summer, spring, summer, fall.
Okay.
Friday through Sunday right now, 12 to 5. We get to give tours of the homestead. You'll get the full experience. You get to come in and you'll get to see what each of the different scenes depicts as well. So.
And also, too, I love the kitchen. The kitchen in this house, it's excellent. It has the fireplace literally is probably taller than we are, and it's huge, and it's a very good depiction of how they lived and what they had to do back then.
That was actually another one of Helen's changes. Originally, that was used as a bedroom and used as a different room in the house. When Henry Frick's sister lived here, that was actually her room.
Really?
And when Helen bought the house, she turned it into what she thought a Mennonite kitchen should look like. And there's actually a replica of, well, ours is a replica of that kitchen, a kitchen in Philadelphia.
Okay, and who's Helen?
Oh, Helen Clay Frick, sorry. Henry's daughter.
Okay, that's who I thought it was. I was doing it.
Sorry. Yeah, Henry's daughter, Helen. Without her, we would not be here. She bought all the property, and she established Westmoreland Fayette Historical Society, which became later West Overton Village.
Oh,
and here we are, because of Helen.
And now, tell us about the whiskey.
Oh, the whiskey. Whiskey is awesome. When Henry Overholt, Abraham's father, bought the property in 1803, it came with 2 pot stills. At that time, people used their excess grains to make whiskey, and because it kept easier and they could sell it and trade it. So the property came with 2 pot stills. In 1810, Abraham Overholt decided to make whiskey the biggest part of West Overton Village, and they began distilling on a larger level, and they made Old Farm pure rye whiskey. They grew rye here. It's what traditionally German Mennonites brought over from Germany, and of course they brought rye here, and they brought that tradition here. So they made rye whiskey, which was very popular at the time. So they made rye whiskey up until 1919, when Congress decided to pass that horrible thing known as Prohibition. Horrible.
Skip 10 years.
Yeah.
No, it's 11.
11 years.
11 years?
11 years.
Okay.
Sorry, we had a visitor. 11 years later, Prohibition ended, but unfortunately West Overton Village never recovered and couldn't distill whiskey here anymore. But luckily, Abraham had some entrepreneuring sons, and they opened up Broadford Distillery, and they distilled through Prohibition. They got a special license to distill medicinal whiskey.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Your doctor could write you a prescription for whiskey.
And those were popular doctors that would do that.
Very popular doctors, enterprising doctors as well. They could write you a prescription for medicinal whiskey. If you come in, we actually have some prescription slips in the distillery that you can see.
Really? Oh, that's neat.
And your doctor could write you a prescription for it, and you would go to the pharmacy and pick it up, or have someone deliver it to your house.
Oh,
So
that's neat.
they had a special license to distill it, and they kept distilling throughout Prohibition, and after. They were acquired by National Distillers, which was later absorbed into the Jim Beam Corporation, and Jim Beam still distills Old Overholt. They group it in with a group called the Old Overholt, Old Crow, and Old Grandad.
So you still can get Old
You still
Overholt.
can get Old Overholt, which is not what was made here, but
Yeah, don't be fooled. Yeah.
don't be fooled. But it's pretty much the same thing. The recipe really didn't change all that much.
Now, I know that you guys are kind of, I don't want to say focusing on the whiskey, but that is a big part of the history
It is a
here.
big part of the history.
And they actually had one of their speakers for their Parlor Talk series, which is something that was reintroduced. It was very popular here years ago, and they brought it back this year. And one of their speakers actually talked about the history of whiskey, and you guys had a little bit of a tasting.
We did. We had the folks from Wiggle Whiskey come in. They're in the Strip District. If you ever get a chance to go down there, go down.
Really? I'd like to check it out.
They give fabulous tours, and you get to taste whiskey.
Oh, there you go.
It's really good.
Now, are you planning on doing a little bit more of this then, as far as the whiskey tastings?
We are planning on doing whiskey tastings. We're trying to streamline it to get them added to tours this summer.
Oh, okay.
But it's something that we plan on offering in the future for sure.
And they have some other cool things they're going to be adding. Tell us a little bit about the walking tour you guys are talking about doing.
Yes, we're also in the process of adding a walking tour. If it's a really nice day and you don't want to be stuck inside this beautiful house taking a tour, and you'd like to get out and see more of the property, we're developing a walking tour where you can walk around the property, go to each of the buildings, and learn a little bit about the history of the buildings as well.
Now, you have a coke oven down here, don't you? Or no, Mike, wrong.
Couple coke ovens.
Okay.
We have the real coke ovens, which are behind the big barn in the bushes.
Okay.
And then out front by the road and just aside of the distillery, we have a replica coke oven that's much more accessible, much more accessible, and you can take a look at it, and it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Also, in our summer kitchen, we also have a beehive oven, which is what the coke ovens were, which Henry's coke ovens were replicated after.
Now, that's something, I think that's cool. Jessica mentioned there's actually 12 buildings because we're counting the chicken coop. There's 12 buildings here, and I know a lot of times they are open. Like the spring house is adorable. It's a little spring house. The summer house I've only ever seen once. I know you guys had it open one time for a special occasion. I was able to see it. But it's really fascinating. And also, too, I understand you guys are doing something Civil War based this year.
We are. It's the sesquicentennial, did I say that word right? The sesquicentennial of the Civil War. And as part of that, the Heinz History Center developed a traveling exhibit, and we're getting it. It's going to be here in September. I think we're opening September 6th, and we have it till the 28th. And we're also doing a lot of supplementary work as well, relating the Civil War back to West Overton Village and Westmoreland County as a larger subset of that. So.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of big Civil War fans in the area. I know that we are. I was actually telling Jessica. So you want to maybe check out the website again as it gets closer. Now, you planning on having this in the fall? Is that correct?
Yeah, having this in the fall. We want to try and have different events leading up to it. In June, we're planning a trip to Gettysburg, which is
right. I saw that.
Which is just about full. So hopefully we'll be able to do more trips like that in the future. And we want to have different speakers from within the Civil War community leading up to the event, just to kind of get the buzz out, and then just have different fun programming throughout the exhibit as well. We're planning on having a dog day, where you can bring your dogs here, because dogs and animals were a really huge part of the Civil War.
Yes, they were.
So, we wanted you to bring your dog down and have some fun at West Overton.
Oh, wonderful. If we can put a little Confederate or...
Yeah, you can put a little flag on them, or a Union flag,
whichever, or both.
Whichever way you fall.
So now all of these dates and all of these times and everything, they will be listed on your website, because I keep telling people to pretty much...
Listen on the website, call for more information, and if you become a member, you'll get all this stuff in the mail.
Oh, and we are going to talk to Jessica later about the benefits of becoming a member and or a volunteer here.
And or volunteering.
Okay, is there anything else you would like to add, Stephanie, that we did not cover as far as whiskey events or West Overton?
I think we got it all.
I think we got
it all.
You see, folks, there's a lot here you can do. Please don't drive by, pull in next time you're going past West Overton villages and museums. Right?
Yep.
Correct. Well, before we finish up with today's show, we're back with Jessica, who's going to tell us a little bit about volunteer opportunities and what you get if you become a member here. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, now tell us a little bit about the volunteer opportunities that you have here at West Overton.
We have tons of volunteer opportunities.
Well, there you go.
So anything, if you have an hour to give a month, we want you here. We would love to have you. We have jobs that range from full-time, 8 hours a day, every day, down to an hour a month if you have it to give. We would love to have you here. We have things where you can research things that we have happening here, facts, dates, that sort of thing. You can touch artifacts, help us store things. Since we're such a small museum, you really get the hands-on experience here. So, yeah.
And also to the garden. I know that the gardeners are always looking for help.
Yes, the Garden Society. They would love to have your help. So if you want to get your hands dirty with historical dirt, Come on down.
And I know a lot of times too, whenever they have events, they can always use a couple extra hands to help with people.
Exactly.
And are you still looking for docents?
Yes, we're always looking for tour guides.
Okay, there you go.
So anyone who has an interest in working with the public and
Likes the area and likes
the
people.
area. Exactly. You have to like people. Please come visit us.
And you can also too, you can become a member here. Tell us a little bit about the membership.
Okay, membership is just your way of showing how much you care about West Overton and its future, and you care about what we're doing here. Memberships start out at $15 for an individual. So it's not a lot of money, but your dollars go to make a big impact here, and we really appreciate all of our members.
Ooh, wonderful. Anything else you want to add to today's show, Jessica?
No.
As we always say, this is such a wonderful little historic gem right here in our own backyard.
Exactly.
Even if you don't have time to make to one of the events, stop. As we said, if you check in at the office, you can just at least walk around the grounds and see what they have here.
Exactly. We've been developing that walking tour, so please come on down and tell us what you think of it.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, there you go, folks. We hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, you can get all of the information that we talked about and more on the West Overton's site. And what is that?
www.westovertonvillage.org.
There you go. And as I said, you can get all your information there on membership, events, and things happening.
Exactly.
Okay, well, folks, there you have it. You have all the information on how to get in touch with these folks and how to see what's going on. So we hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, ready? Keep smiling, keep dreaming, and keep watching.
Armstrong Local Programming features our community like no one else. Meet your friends and neighbors at special events. Find the perfect pet. Celebrate our region's rich history or enjoy our natural wonders. Armstrong Local Programming is available online, on demand, and on your local Armstrong channel. Find the complete program schedule at ArmstrongOneWire.com. Local programming exclusively from Armstrong. One Wire, infinite possibilities.